Welcome to the Car Guys and welcome to another Q&A episode here at 4-Star Classics, their new premises.
We're super excited to be here. There's some lovely machinery around and we are going to have some really good fun going through your questions and seeing what kind of stuff that you really want to know about us.
Exactly. No holds barred. You can ask anything. You sent us questions on Instagram and YouTube. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So here we are, we're at 4-Star Classics, we've got a Q&A session, Jason's here, we're rocking and a-rolling. Jason, what it's like being here again for another Q&A session, you excited?
I am exceptionally excited. I have had a preview of a couple of the questions and yeah, they are pretty much the same stuff that you lot always ask. We are not gay before you start, and yes, I do have cars and some of them do run. So that answers pretty much 95% of the questions. Thanks for watching.
I mean, not many of them run, obviously.
Some of them, though.
So we've got your questions in on Instagram and YouTube, loads of them. We've got them all here in front of us, and we're just going to crack on and answer as many as we can.
Question numero uno. 2 last tanks of super unleaded on Earth. 1 for a car you own, 1 for a car you used to own. Name those cars.
So, tank of fuel, 1 last blast. I'm going to go predictably 458 Speciale Aperta with the roof down and the blaring engine.
Oh, nice.
And the car I used to own with a tank of petrol. It's got to be the F40, isn't it?
Oh,
it's got to be.
Honestly, why do you keep bringing that up? Why did you sell that car? You know they're worth $2.5 million now.
Thank you.
Anyway,
thank you.
So moving on swiftly, car that I currently own, it's a tough choice actually, but I think probably the Talbot.
Okay.
Around the Yorkshire Dales, that is an absolute amazing drive. Car I used to own, again a difficult one, but I think probably the E46 M3.
Ah, lovely.
Because that was just sublime. What a great car that was.
What colour was that again?
Phoenix yellow.
Phoenix yellow, ladies and gentlemen. What was the interior of that car? What was it?
Kiwi.
Kiwi with Phoenix. Just let that settle in for a minute, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Not an Aussie 94 asks, what car were you looking forward to, but was actually disappointing? Porsche Carrera GT. Didn't get on with it, didn't know what all the fuss is about, wasn't that impressed with it. Sorry.
Awkward.
You?
GR Yaris.
Woo!
Didn't get on with it, didn't know what all the fuss was about.
Bought one. First one in the country.
Yes.
Pioneer of GR Yaris's, poster child of GR Yaris's.
Yeah. When
you look up GR Yaris on Google, it's just a picture of you going like this.
But, you know, sometimes it doesn't work, does it? You look back at the Performante. That is a prime example of a car which you should have absolutely fallen in love with.
Yep.
Everything about it just screamed the Car Guys. It was in a lovely green, it was fast, it was ridiculous, it was noisy, and yet you went, meh.
And there's 2 episodes where you can find out why.
Take Meghan Markle out on a date or drive a Chrysler Cruiser for a month.
Chrysler Cruiser.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, I used to own a PT Cruiser, so...
I thought you were going to say, now interesting, I used to own Meghan Markle. You used to own a PT Cruiser?
Yeah, I used to own I had a blue PT Cruiser.
Isn't that the most hateful vehicle ever made?
Yeah, but actually, it was all right.
Dan Reed Jazz, a long-time sender of comments to the channel, asks, money no object, what would you have? A P1, a 918, a LaFerrari, or a T50?
Something about a P1 that I really like, but I would be a bit worried about the battery.
I'd be worried about the battery issue in all of them except the T50. I mean, Jesus.
Well, yeah, especially the LAF.
Yeah, 100 grand, 150,000 pounds for a replacement battery.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Didn't tell you that, did they?
No. T50, I have issues with the T50. Yeah, I don't know. Probably the P1.
I think for me it'd probably be the 918, just because I think it's possibly the best sorted out of those. However, I'd scrap all of those and go Daytona SP3. That'd be the one I'd choose.
Is it? You like that, don't you?
I've got the hots for that one.
Have you?
Yeah. It's a problem. This is an eternal car guy question. Is it better to drive a fast car slow or a slow car fast?
Slow car fast, always.
I agree, definitely.
Absolutely.
All the way.
Yeah, 100%.
There is no joy in sitting in slow-moving traffic in a supercar, but if you are ragging the living shit out of a higher car, say, or a lower powered thing, right on the limit. Yeah,
and you look down and you're doing 25 miles an hour. Yeah. That is driving nirvana.
Exactly. Honda fan James asks, what is your go-to daily driver?
So I will bring up the sensible adult 50-year-old man here.
Yeah. Which we technically both are.
Yeah, but one of us is slightly more exciting than the other. It's the Fiat 500 electric.
Is it? Is that your go-to daily driver?
I literally walk out of the house and don't forget, most of my daily driving involves travelling no more than 10 miles from my house. Wireless CarPlay comes on, a nice little podcast.
What's your favourite motoring podcast out of interest?
So I'm very keen on the Collecting Cars podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my go-to at the moment.
It's now become genius, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolute genius. The thing is incredible.
My go-to driver probably is the Mercedes S600 Maybach.
As daily drivers go.
Twinned with maybe the Yaris.
Brown-eyed Jesus would like to know which car brand has the worst fans.
Yeah, Tesla. No question.
And can I also add to that, they also are the worst drivers. Ooh. Have you been on a motorway recently when a Tesla has been anywhere near you?
Yes.
Yeah. What is it about owning a Tesla that makes you... It's almost like the people that used to own BMWs back in the 90s have now all graduated to Teslas. What is that?
Exactly. They do two things. First of all, when they enter the motorway on a slip road, they will immediately go full throttle and veer violently out to the outside lane.
And then massively slam on their brakes.
Yeah. So they'll do that. And also, what they'll also do is just fly down the middle lane, undertaking everyone and just generally swerving about. So that's the two characteristics I've noticed the most. In terms of fans, it's that terminal intensity that they are somehow right about everything and everyone else is a Luddite. It's the unswerving view of that and the avoidance of any fault.
They absolutely believe that they are the righteous ones, the chosen ones, and the rest of us know nothing.
Yes, the charging networks is absolutely brilliant. The products were and are revolutionary. They work pretty well, but it's not the answer to everything. They're not the greatest thing in all areas. They're pretty decent cars, but it's the attitude that comes with the Tesla that puts me right off them. 100%. I cannot be part of that cult. I just can't.
I would rather extract my own testicles with rusty spoons than drive a Tesla.
You heard it here first, folks.
So, Damien, there's a lovely question here, very poignant. What is happening with the Lamborghini? When will it come back to the channel?
Well, obviously, we're due to do a garage update at some point relatively soon, but the Lamborghini Gallardo Valentino Balboni is not returning to the channel because I've sold it. It's been sold. It's gone away to its new owner, who is a very lucky person, very keen car person. But yeah, it's gone.
Do you think that this is possibly going to go into the category of where the F40 currently sits at the top of?
Almost certainly it will be worth £1 million by next year.
And you will ultimately completely regret that decision.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That has happened almost all the time.
All the time,
yes.
Yeah.
The trick with cars is never sell them, and then you'll never, ever feel that pang of disappointment when it goes up in value by 10 times.
Yeah.
I quite like this one, actually. Jamie DB69 asks, what Formula One great would you most like to have a pint with?
This is actually quite tricky because there's been a lot of great drivers.
Yep.
You know, your Jackie Stewart's would be amazing to have a pint with him. Graham Hill, you probably more have a sherry with Graham Hill. I think would be more appropriate.
Totally.
Alain Prost, but that would be a very specific drink in a very specific glass. Nige, pint of IPA. Right? I actually think I'd quite like to go for a pint with David Coulthard.
Oh.
Because I think he would be quite
Is that
fun.
because you can, technically?
Because technically, well, you know.
Get in touch, David.
I think he would be quite a fun, I think it'd be quite a laugh to go out and have a pint with.
I would go for, I'm going to have to go for 2.
Yeah.
Right, obviously.
Obviously.
My very first thought, as soon as I saw this, was Mike Hawthorne.
Oh.
Because he's a bit of a hero of mine. And I think he was a well-known Hellraiser party type guy. He's got amazing stories. So he would be the first one because I just absolutely love the guy. And also, I've just finished watching the Brawn documentary.
Oh, the Netflix one?
Disney Plus.
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
Yeah, it's a Hulu, I think it is. It's
Yeah.
a Hulu show. So Jensen Button, actually.
Oh.
I think he's, to me, strikes like the sort of person you'd really like to go have a pint with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very grounded.
Very normal.
Yeah, very interesting. He's got lots of projects he's currently doing. So yeah, I think it'd be those two for me.
Sorry, David, you're out.
You're rare. Matty L F1 asks, have you got any plans to extend the garage to fit more cars in? No, not really, because I don't think I get planning permission and I've got far too many cars as it is. I think what I'm going to do more sensibly would be reduce down the number of cars to give myself more space.
No, buy ramps. Put ramps in. You've got a very high ceiling. You could double the amount of space you got, and then you just drive them in and drive them out, you see?
I could do, couldn't I? But what about the cars that are on the top of the ramps that I literally never, ever get them out?
Yeah, but you've already got cars like that anyway, so you just put the crap ones up there, like the Lotus.
What we like to...
I have actually extended, so I've got a different... So I've got one big unit.
Yeah.
Where
Units
stuff goes...
too charitable a word.
Okay, so we'll say... rat hole, rat-infested farm building. I've now got another rat-infested farm building where I've put the cars that actually run, so I can go and drive them out of there, as opposed to having to move 45 different cars.
Jason, insensible approach, shocker.
DK Smith, 44, has a very important question.
Very.
I know there's about 35% of you suddenly go, well, I'm bored with these two idiots talking rubbish, so I'm going to get out. But no, I beg you to stay. What's better? Galaxy or Cadbury's Dairy Milk?
I shall see your Galaxy and Dairy Milk and modify it slightly and say Dairy Milk, fruit and nut is best.
Oh, hello.
Fruit and nut all the way. It's my Alan Partridge Toblerone weakness.
And to be fair, that is very much like you, just to up the ante from a very simple question and then add sprinkles of stardust into it.
So what are you going for? Galaxy or Dairy Milk?
Well, I don't really like chocolate, so neither.
Bloody hell. What was your biggest car-related regret this year? For me, I think it's the fact that I forgot to hook up loads of my cars to their battery tempers and all the batteries went flat.
I don't really have any regrets, I wouldn't have said.
Je ne regrette rien.
Je ne regrette rien. Does being rich suck as much as you seem to make it look? Do you make being rich look shit?
I mean, I probably do. I mean, let's face it, it takes a lot of effort to be as curmudgeonly and bitter as I am on camera. It does. It takes
normally
real
I
effort.
find it comes very naturally.
No, I mean, normally when I'm off camera, I'm this happy ray of sunshine that doesn't, glass half full type of gentleman. And then just when I turn that on, it just seems to all come out to me. But anyway, par 400, I think you'll find that what's in here is what counts, not what's here.
Jesus.
Deep. Mr. Bar 1 asks, when are you buying some new cars? Been a bit barren lately.
I mean, what does he think we are? Bloody machines?
It's ridiculous.
We're personable people. We have emotions, don't we? You can't just keep saying this about us.
We've got feelings.
We've got feelings.
What's going on? Look, we're not those YouTubers that go out and buy cars for views or go out and buy cars because we get preferential deals from BMW. We just don't. That's not our bag, really. We're buying cars that interest us or we like. There's loads of cars this year that we almost bought and missed out on at auction or various opportunities, or maybe the timing wasn't right.
Damn you collecting cars.
And you say you never get to see the ones that we sort of didn't get. You just see what happens. And this year, you're right. We've not bought a lot of new cars.
The value proposition for new cars is completely gone, in my opinion.
And we're surrounded here by prime examples of used cars that you can buy.
I mean, who wouldn't want this Porsche?
It's a 928 in Guards Red.
A manual 928 in Guards Red. Next to it is a Pagoda. I will definitely own one of those. Not that one because it's left-hand drive. But look at it. Just look at it.
But it is true. I mean, this is the sort of place that we frequent a lot, you may have noticed, full of very interesting used metal. And this is what we like. This channel is about us sharing with you the cars that we like, the cars we've always wanted to drive and that you kindly lend us to drive, and also the car collection that we've got, which includes only cars that excite us and interest us. That's why it's so eclectic a collection. It's why it doesn't make any sense. That's why it doesn't get many views.
Yeah, but thanks for sticking around.
Would you ever consider buying a Ford GT?
No, I don't think so.
Really? Not even the second gen 2010
No, it's too
car?
big. It's just the proportions of the car for here. It's just it's an enormous car.
It's quite big. Yeah.
It's like 18 feet wide. It is quite frankly ridiculous. It just wouldn't work here at all.
Yeah, I have to say I did a video and obviously really enjoyed the Ford GT, the second gen one. I do love it. I don't think I'd ever personally have one, and I absolutely have no interest in the new one at all. Does nothing for me. Raises nothing on the erectile meter.
No.
Cherry Boy 23 asks, your perfect Ferrari first drive.
Is money an object here?
It has to be relatively sensible because it would be like your first Ferrari, wouldn't it? Not many people jump into an F50, for example, as the first car.
So my original plan of a 250 California is not on the cards here.
It might be tricky.
Yeah,
I mean, we can answer it two ways, actually. We could say, what do you think would be the perfect first Ferrari ever to drive?
Ever.
250 California short wheelbase. I'd probably go 288 GTO. But now also, what would be the best first Ferrari that people should own?
Should own? Well, you'd struggle to go wrong with a 355.
I don't think you can go wrong with a basic 458 Italia.
I mean, I was just about to say, 458 now, they're 120, 130,000. I mean, that, bargain, absolute bargain.
Yeah, modern, incredible handling, lovely noise. It's so pretty.
Great GT car as well. Sit on a motorway at 70 miles an hour and you could do hours in one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant car. This is an interesting one. And for you, we could go into a 5-10 minute long tirade.
It's a whole episode.
It's literally an entire episode.
I'm pretty sure we've done this. Yeah, exactly.
What car do you regret not buying and any plans to rectify?
Well,
you're not allowed to mention.
Am I not?
Well, you go on then.
Right, well, I definitely regret not buying a Ferrari 288 GTO when they were only 600,000 quid. That's what I regret the most. Exactly that.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, it was not buying a 997 GT3 because back in those days, you could actually go and buy a GT car.
That's true.
And there was no real restrictions and they hadn't got the hype that they were at the time. And I passed on it. Yeah, so I think that's probably a bit of a regret.
Are you going to buy a Ferrari 296 GTB? No.
Oh.
No. I mean, I loved it. You can't really buy one anymore because they've stopped making them.
Get a second-hand one.
It could get a second-hand one. It is a fantastic car, but yeah, it's not one that I'm looking to buy. I think for Ferrari, I think I'd be going further back than that.
WTF Frenchie would like to know best car you drove in 2023.
I would say 3 cars spring to mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Ferrari 296 GTB.
Mm-hmm.
Very surprising, much better than I thought. Completely prepared to write it off as a load of old hybrid guff. But it was amazing. The LC500 Lexus.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely loved that and really made me excited about driving an LFA, which unfortunately was sold just before I managed to drive it. And also the 812 GTS, which is probably the finest V12 modern Ferrari. It just does everything perfectly.
Nice. Better than the Superfast.
Yeah. The GTS is the one to have.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think the most surprising car I drove was a 650S, and I was quite surprised how similar to the LT it was. The FF down to Le Mans Classic.
Le Mans, yes.
I mean that FF. It's so sublime. It's just such a wonderful GT car. I love that thing.
Yeah.
And my V12 Jag, which I just, you
love that thing.
I literally love that. I literally wake up in the morning and think, is it possible to go and drive it today? And I look out the window and I realise it's not.
Bratley Nigel asks, what's your favourite takeaway?
Now we're getting into the proper meat of the discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Here. Proper, sensible.
None of this car stuff. Come
car
on.
bollocks. No, thank you.
You want to know about us, don't you? You want to know a little bit more about us?
I would say, at the moment, I am very much loving a kebab.
Really?
Yeah.
You dirty
I like a
bastard.
dirty doner. Whether I've been drinking or not,
wow.
I will quite happily...
Sober doner kebab?
A sober doner kebab.
I mean, I would have put money on it being curry, by the way. So I'm genuinely surprised. I think for me, it's Chinese is my Achilles
Is it?
heel, although this year I've had almost none.
Really?
Well, in fact, takeaways generally, I've pretty much had, I think I've had two
I
this
think
year.
it's been noted that you've slimmed down a tad there, Mr. Damien.
And takeaways, they are the killer. They are the killer.
Yeah, 4 or 5 times a week, that's probably quite bad.
It's too much, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chinese for me.
Chris, OB7QD, asks, what was the story of your first ever accident, if you have been involved in one? How old were you? How did it happen? And what did you learn from it?
Have you got a good one?
I have got a good one. It's not my first ever accident.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because when you're young, there's
There's lots of silly accidents when you're young.
silly little things.
I had a very silly accident, which I don't really count, but my first real accident was in my brand new Porsche 996 GT3 Gen 2, literally my dream car at the time. I'd picked it up and done, I don't know, maybe 900 miles. And unfortunately, I was following a drunk driver through the forest, and the drunk driver suddenly swerved across the road, hit another car. That car span, hit me, pushed me off the road, and wrote it off. And so I had to then order another one, which you could do back then.
Yes, just walk into the dealership, say, can I have a GT3? And they go, yes, sir, yes, you can.
But the downside was I had to wait 9 months to get the replacement.
Yeah.
So my brand new GT3 was trashed by the idiotic actions of a clearly drunk driver. And what did I learn from it? Don't follow drunk drivers, basically.
Give people who you think are slightly suspicious driving a lot of space.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, ironically, if I'd have been right up close behind,
You would have driven.
He would have hit the other car and it would have gone behind me. So actually, it was probably me giving him space that gave enough space to the other car to hit.
My story is, it's not quite as salubrious as driving a GT3 996. I was in my old Cavalier, which was lowered and had a fast engine in it. Anyway, I was trying to spark up a cancer stick, and I dropped my lighter. And I'd managed to drop it in the footwell.
Are we talking hand lighter or a car lighter?
It was a Zippo.
Okay.
And I'd put it, and it was in the passenger footwell.
A light?
No.
Okay.
I just put the cigarette into my mouth to light it, and the lighter was in the passenger footwell, and I went down to pick it up, and as I looked up, the bus that I'd been following had stopped at the bus stop. Unfortunately, I was no more than 6 feet behind it, so no amount of braking was going to stop. And I still can picture in my mind, if I close my eyes, the little spirals of glass, headlight glass, going up into as I smashed heavily into the back of a loaded bus.
What sort of age would you have been then?
I think I was probably 18.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So I wasn't very old.
I think mine would have happened in 2003, so I'd have been 31.
Right, old then.
Yeah.
Yeah. My takeaways from that are two things. One, don't smoke, because it can end up in massive accidents. And two, look where you're going.
Sage advice from the car guys.
Joe Cribbin asks, when you see the market start to move downwards, do you look at your collection and think, quick, what should I sell now? Sell now? No. Never sell on a dip.
It's the opposite.
You buy in a dip.
Buy low, sell high.
You buy the dip. You don't sell the dip. That's crazy talk.
Yeah. I mean, sell stuff if you desperately need the money for, say, a new incoming car that you've got to afford. By all means, do that.
Yeah.
But don't just sell because the market is going down. That is the time to swoop in and buy all the lovely stuff.
Don't worry about what other people do. We don't, clearly. This is why we've only got 100,000 subscribers.
Targa, who came to see,
I like
says,
that is good.
Am I still loving the GT3 Touring? Yes, of course I am. Got it out the other day. Fell in love with it again. It was just fantastic. Such an accomplished car. I've now got it on 4S tyres, so they're a bit more suited to the cold, dampy weather. Not as twitchy as it was. So, yeah, still epic. And did you know this, right? Right-hand drive GT3 Tourings in the UK, less than 60 of them.
Less than 60 of them?
Yeah, I think it's like 54 or something.
Really?
That's all there is.
That is bonkers.
You know, try finding one. It's crazy. And as, you know, Sir Chris of Harris has testified, he actually prefers that generation to the new one.
Yeah.
And the new one, if you look in the classifieds now, I mean, there's about 100 for sale. Like they made so many 992 Tourings. The general consensus is that the 991.2 Touring is the one to have. Yeah.
Do you know, I would be very interested in that car if it had rear seats in it.
Which you can get retrofitted.
Can you?
Yes, there's a company that does it.
And are they TUV?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
Longtail Living asks, is the McLaren 675 LT a keeper? Now, I suspect you've got quite heavily invested in McLaren 675 LTs, given Longtail Living.
Yeah.
At the moment, yes, it is. It's a keeper. I haven't really got any plans to get rid of it. But, I mean, I don't drive it that much.
How often, let's quantify that much. In the last 12 months, how many miles, and I'm not talking about MOT miles.
Right.
How many miles have you driven for pleasure in the 675 LT?
I mean, 200?
You liar.
Maybe 200?
20?
Yeah, not many, not many. Peter DV says, when buying a car, do you take its use into consideration to avoid it being parked and not being driven?
Of course not, Peter. That's not how you buy cars. Are you crazy, man?
Yeah, you go
buy
like
cars,
this, click, you go bought it.
Oh, it's amazing. And then you go, oh, where am I going to put it?
It's green.
And then you go, oh, I haven't driven that in a year.
Yeah, it's a problem.
No, never, ever is a consideration, ever.
It's usually, oh, I love them. Oh my God, it's available, click.
Yeah. Oh, this auction, that seems really, really cheap. I better bid for that. Oh, I bought it.
Oh, I'll just put in a bid. Yeah, of course I won't win it, but I've won it. Oh.
Exactly. The next car, top of your list to add to the collection?
I think it would be Porsche GT2 RS.
Really?
Would sort of probably be it.
Because you flirted with that at least half a dozen times.
I know.
Remember when they were £500,000 and you were like, oh yeah, I'm well in, and I was like,
yeah,
what the hell are you doing?
Wait for it to come down. Well, yeah, but now they're 320, 330. That's kind of, they dropped down to 280.
Yeah.
They've now come up to that sort of like low threes. That's probably where they're going to sit. So it's one of those, or maybe a Toyota Supra Turbo.
Oh yes.
90s.
Oh yes, that's exactly what you need.
Yeah, there you go. That's mine. What
Perfect.
about you?
The other thing that's really giving me the hots at the moment is a Alfa Romeo Junior 1600 Alfaholics.
Oh.
Right, that's really giving me the absolute dirtiness at the moment.
Very nice.
Will we see a LaFerrari anytime in the collections?
No. Not that fussed on the LaFerrari. Dark Vador 6437 asks, what happened to the mighty Phaeton? Well, it was mightily driven, mightily enjoyed, and then mightily sold to someone, and I think it might be up for sale now. Actually, no, one of our viewers has just bought it. So someone out there, one of the people watching this channel right now, watching this episode right now, is probably sat in it.
Dave Tomley 3145, 1 GT, 1 hypercar, 1 EV, go.
812 GTS,
Yep.
Daytona SP3, and EV. Got a problem.
Got a problem there, haven't we?
Got a problem here.
I'm afraid that Damien has refused that fence.
Yeah.
And we'll be getting penalty points.
Yeah. Sorry, I literally can't.
You literally your mind locked up then, didn't it? I could see it. Just happened. 1 GT, so FF.
Lovely.
Because I love those cars. 1 hypercar, McLaren F1, because it's the daddy.
It is the daddy.
1 EV, Fiat 500 electric.
Because you got one.
Because I got one.
Well, there we are. That's the end of our Q&A episode. I hope you enjoyed the answers that we gave. I hope it was mildly entertaining and perhaps kept you warm and interested on this cold winter night with all this evil and danger in the world. And I hope we brought some light to you wherever you are.
Jesus, that was a bit deep and meaningful, wasn't it? I hope you had a giggle and a laugh at our expense. That's the kind of main reason why we do this stuff.
Better. That was a better one.
It's kind of us. But yes, anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It is free, you know. It doesn't cost you any money. Bing that notification bell for when we have another film uploaded. Find us on the Insta. Don't forget we have merch. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.